I rebuilt my life at 66, trusting a 72-year-old man to walk with me in love and companionship. But that decision turned me into something I never expected: a caregiver, not a wife, not a partner, just a convenience. If you've ever confused loneliness with love, I hope you'll listen to my story. Because sometimes the line between being loved and being used is heartbreakingly thin. My name is Linda. I'm 66 and I live in Fort Myers, Florida. A few years ago, I lost my husband to cancer, and for a long time, I lived with a silence that just never left the room. Then one day, a friend introduced me to George. He was 72, retired from the state government. Very polite, very put together. Right away, he made it clear.
You won't have to worry about money with me. I've got a solid pension.
His words felt warm. I hadn't felt seen like that in years. So I said yes. Yes to coffee. Yes to dinners. Yes to love again. The first few weeks of marriage were sweet. He brought me tea in the mornings, held my hand on walks. I thought, maybe this is what growing old together should feel like. But slowly, things shifted.
This food's cold. My stomach doesn't handle cold meals very well. You used canned soup? No, no, it's better when you make it fresh each morning. I don't like how the washer treats my shirts. Could you hand wash them instead? I'm only asking for a little kindness, Linda. Is that too much?
Then, one afternoon, his daughter dropped by. She
I'm so glad you're here, Linda. I honestly don't know what Dad would have done without you.
said it with too much relief. It felt rehearsed. A few days later, while going through the desk drawer looking for stamps, I found an envelope labeled medical. Outspilled old MRI results, insurance claims, and a diagnosis: lumbar spinal stenosis, chronic, degenerative, years of treatment history. He had never once mentioned any of this. What is this, George? Why wouldn't you tell me about your condition?
Everyone has a few aches and pains at our age, sweetheart. Don't make it a thing.
But it was a thing. I realized then, this wasn't love. It was a setup. He didn't want a partner. He wanted a nurse. And his daughter? She knew. I felt trapped. The fear of being alone again. It almost made me stay. But I went to a lawyer. Thank God we'd signed separate property agreements. I wasn't legally tied to his care. That night, I stood in front of my bathroom mirror. I looked at myself, pale, thinner, smaller, and I said, I won't let this be how my story ends. I deserve to live, for me. These days, I wake up to quiet that doesn't ache anymore. I walk to the farmer's market on Saturdays. I signed up for chair yoga and pottery class. I cook what I want, when I want. And each evening, I pour myself a cup of herbal tea and toast to the woman who finally said no more. If you're thinking about starting over later in life, don't just listen to his words. Watch his actions. Because loneliness can be loud. But being used, that silence cuts even deeper. Thank you for listening to my story. If something like this has happened to you or someone you love, please share it in the comments. Let's help each other feel less alone.